What up, guys? Total Control 871. Touching off a little headline news first. See if I can keep the video short as possible anyway. Hurricane Florence, hopefully she won't come. What's her name? Amber Geiger, the Texas police officer, Dallas, Texas, wasn't it? Yeah. Bursts through dude's door and shoots and kills him. Upstanding citizen, beautiful singing voice. And what I want to know about this is, I mean, obviously the shooting's unjustified. Duh. I think everybody can agree with that. They said she had wrapped up a 12-hour shift. How many 12-hour shifts? Not to play the devil's advocate here, but for those who have access, I'll see if I can. I'm not even going to bother looking for the license. It's an old Casino Control Commission license. It's got my face on it, where I'm basically looking like all gobsmacked. When I got my Casino Commission license, when you're a security officer, you have to have a license to work on the casino floor. When I went to have that picture taken, I had just wrapped up a 96-hour work week. Like I said, I've always busted my ass. And I remember, because they were putting up the overtime like crazy, and I'm signing up for it like crazy, and I remember I went to sign up for my last bit of overtime that week, and an officer by the name of Bon Giovanni, she had, because they offer it in, like, you can either take the whole 8 hours or half, 4 hours and 4 hours, and she took the last 4 hours, meaning that she would come in 4 hours early for her regular shift. And I was upset because I wanted to work 100 hours even that week, and not just for the money, but anyway, call it fate, call it whatever. As the 96th hour rolled around, and there I am standing guard on my door, literally the patterns of the casino carpet, floor carpet, it looked like it was floating up. I was so gaga. I was so gobsmacked from exhaustion. I remember like if you were in a 3D movie theater with the glasses on, I'm reaching out trying to touch shit. I'm completely fucked in my head at that point. Anyway, did this officer, how overworked was she? And it's not just simply overworked. Does she like to party? Do you like going out? So if it's not, you need sleep, whether you're denying your body sleep from partying or working, either or, you have to have sleep. It's a medical necessity. It's why you can't criminalize the homeless for sleeping. It's a biological function of the body. To deny us this, it's every bit as lethal as denying our heart the right to beat. I will say this. From this fiasco, it could have tremendous shockwaves all throughout law enforcement the nation over. As we see with our CDL drivers, their work and overtime highly restrictive. That's why they all have to sleep. If you're a bus driver, your company will pay to put you up in a hotel to sleep. Truck drivers, we all see them. They got that really swanky beds and the whole cabin in the back and whatnot. So, are we about to see similar restrictive legislation come down the pike? Come on, goddammit. Come down the pike for police officers. After all, bus drivers and lorry drivers, HGV drivers, big rig, 18-wheelers, they are piloting a massive lethal weapon, and as we all know, police officers have weapons of mass destruction strapped to their hip. Next, our New Jersey couple that fucking ripped off poor Johnny Bobbitt. GoFundMe gone awry, over $400,000. Johnny Bobbitt purports to have only gotten $75,000 of that money. Money's a bitch. Money's a strange thing. There is no shortage throughout literature, history, both fiction and reality. Money does strange things to people. Don't ask me why. It just does. It will take over your senses. Money does weird things. Yeah, so they're about to be indicted, as well they should. Hey, rather than me say my thing, I'll just simply repeat what I read online. They're talking about they were worried that he was going to use the money for drugs. Well, obviously this man is capable of making a good decision with money. He did spend his last 20 bucks on your gas tank. So, yeah, they'll be indicted. And, oh yeah, that's what I want to say about GoFundMe. Guys, there's so much predatory GoFundMe. You heard me speak of it before. E-heroin, emotional heroin, the emotional payoff. There's a lot of people out there that like to solicit funds on that. I'm not cute and cuddly. I'm not, I didn't play the sympathy angle in McDonald's or any other cop videos, and I never will. It's not me. It's not who I am. I'm not looking to play sympathy. I keep it very real and very honest with you guys. Like I said, I want to see if I can get that GoFundMe reactivated, see if we can get these transcripts paid for. If so, I want you all to be very much indeed aware, in case anybody is contemplating donating, I will not use 1 red cent to pay the fine. I will pay for transcripts. If there's an attorney that wants to sign on at this late hour, I'll pay for that out of the funds. And, transportation, maybe have lunch or whatnot. But other than that, then no. I will not be using any of the money to pay the fines themselves. I am not guilty. I will not pay. I swore a solemn oath that I will not pay, and that's exactly what I mean. All right, let's move on. Colin Kaepernick. Hey, Colin Kaepernick kind of just like totally swings back to our first story with Amber Geiger. Black people get shot. I want to say this about Amber, ex-Officer Geiger. I'm not seeing anything thus far to date that says that she did that purely out of racial motivation. Now, if you want to bring me additional evidence that says to that, then fine. But right now, I'm seeing a woman who, for whatever reason, it's all very preliminary, goes into an apartment that allegedly she thought was hers, and sees a large man. You're talking about black versus white. There is data. They've hooked up police officers to simulators, sent them in. When the assailant was white, their galvanic responses was much less than if the assailant was black. Black people scare white people. Still, it's 2018, and black people are still scaring white people. That's what I'm saying. I haven't seen anything yet that leads me to believe that Officer Geiger felt that, you know what I'm saying, that it was racially motivated. Moving on, what is this? Trump. Polls dipping down 36%. I keep saying this number though. They keep saying it's a new low. It's a new low. I'm not seeing. I mean, what is it? A new low for that particular poll? I don't really know what you're saying. You're not being very clear. I'll say this about Trump. The man is completely desperate because I think they're talking about there was a story of denuclear Kim, the parade, no ICBMs. And Donald is fucking stupid enough to actually believe that Kim is denuclearizing. Then again, to throw Trump a scrap of benefit, doubt, whatever. He might not actually be, per se, that stupid. Were it a different scenario, the man is just absolutely desperate to put a gold medal around his neck. He needs an accomplishment. He's so desperate for it. He's so hungry for it. He wants an accomplishment. At this point, because he went in No question about it. He went in desperately wanting to outshine Obama, but I think at this point he'll just be happy if he can get something noteworthy for the annals of history. You know, all the previous administrations, they had their moments and whatnot where they could shine, and he's trying to shine, and the fucking idiot is just well, he's a fucking idiot. He actually thinks that Kim is going to denuclearize. That's not going to happen. What do we got here? Yeah, Kim and his craziness. So, I think that's pretty much it in our headlines. They're all talking about the Hurricane Florence, which may or may not be. The White House, they threw together their little press conference. Oh my God, it's just an absolute mess. Even I understand Woodward. He's supposed to be an accredited journalist, but even what he would write, I would take with a grain of salt. His bias is obvious in my particular point. It's not even necessarily a conservative or liberal bias. Trump just simply has the entire fucking world set against him. You know, he's so fucking stupid. So, you know, so yeah, I guess that's where we'll wrap there with the headlines. I want to talk now about my conclusions. Hold on a second here. I want to see how much time I got. 11 minutes, 11:12. Vehicular cycling. As I embarked upon vehicular cycling in our, 2012, 2013, it's when I embarked upon my vehicular cycling crusade. This vehicular cycling, it is not done exclusively for weight loss. I've said it before. Whatever weight loss it brings, fine, great, wonderful. It is my personal belief that the bicycle, it terrifies a lot of very wealthy people. People with oil portfolios, stock portfolios invested in that. The bicycle is capable of a great deal. I think I've definitely demonstrated that. Morbidly obese man, physically disabled. But if you get a good bicycle, a premium bicycle, and when I say that, everybody out there isn't going to need a bicycle as expensive as mine, okay? My bicycle costs as much as it does because it has to accommodate a very heavy man, okay? Those of you out there, the $400, $500, $600 bikes that are in the racks out there in your bike shop, they're more than enough. Please go out, buy one. But getting back to, I guess you can call it kind of an investigative conclusion into everything here. Believe it or not, throughout this entire ordeal, I have indeed done my best to see if I could see things. Switch hands with the camera here. I've done my best to see things through the eyes of law enforcement. I have indeed concluded that the purported claims of it's for your own good, for your own safety, it's not as genuine as they would have myself and others believe. I do believe that the primary driving factor there, it is the police officer's own ego. They don't like being told how to do their job, and yet we see if there's anything, whether it's deliberate or non-deliberate, whether, not just simply the Dallas, Texas shooting, they fuck their jobs up a hell of a lot more than they would want to admit. They are not perfect, yet they would have us believe that they are perfect. Just like Officer Robert Shepard would have the court believe that his lies are absolutely perfect. And, were he to tell those types of lies to a Robert Mueller type team and then get busted on perjury, You know, the very first thing his defense counsel would say is, "Oh, Your Honor, police officers are human too." You know, so now all of a sudden, once they're caught and convicted, now all of a sudden you want everybody to acknowledge their mortal frailty, the fact that they are subject to the same temptations or whatever it may be that anybody else is. So no, I do believe it is under a lot of color of justice that these police officers claim to be wanting to help me. Hold on. Before I continue on with my analysis of vehicular lane control saga, there's one more thing I want to say about police and their shootings, justified, unjustified. I saw on, was this down in Dallas? Or it's like I want to say Dallas too. Or somewhere in Texas. I don't know. I think CBS has a story. If I find it again, I'll link it down below. A type of bolo, they call it a bolo. You know, like how you got your headphones, and you know, if you go to wrap them around something, they wrap real easy. Kind of like that. Think grapple gun, but instead of launching something like a rope, it launches a twin barb on a single Kevlar. Do I want to call it a lanyard? I don't know what you call it. Basically, it binds either their arms or their legs. I already saw this. I already analyzed it, and I already predicted it. A great many of these shootings, police officers try to use their guns. They forget that their guns are guns. They're instruments of death, not a rodeo. They're not lassos. You're not roping a calf when you're chasing these people, be them black or white. And obviously somebody else concurred with my an observation and analysis that that's what these officers want, you know, when they pull these guns. So I see it demonstrated, and like I say, if I can find the link, and you'll see it being demonstrated too. The thing about this demonstration is that we see that it's on the volunteer. They were standing perfectly still, and then they showed on a mannequin, obviously perfectly still. It's got like the triple, like fountain. It looks like a fountain that sprouts, you know. 3, you know, a fish hook, barbed, both ends, and it wraps around your legs, and it, you know, it hooks in. Now, because if there's anything I can say about my time in the casinos, it makes you extremely liability conscious. So you're talking about that. If you get it around their legs or arms, you know, or around their torso, fine. However, when you go to take this thing off, it now opens up. If these hooks pierce their skin, you're now taking on liability. The police department's taking on liability for any type of infection. Has the suspect had a tetanus shot as of late? See, now you're getting into all of that. Does the suspect have a legal right to refuse a tetanus shot were one of these devices used on them and it penetrate their skin? And were they to develop something like tetanus or some other infection, you know, the liability, where does it sit? You know, just because you waived your right, just because you refused a tetanus shot doesn't mean that you want it to be infected with whatever the case may be. So you got that. Although, granted, if I was a cop, I'd rather be facing that than having fucking shot somebody to death. You know? Now, like I said, this was demonstrated on people standing perfectly still or a mannequin. What happens in the fray? You know, in the ruckus, things are moving around. You were aiming for the torso, but the shit ended up going around their neck. Oh my god, you just penetrated their fucking jugular with this hook. Blood is spurting like fucking crazy. You dig? So, like I say, it has a lot of promise, but it also comes with certain liabilities. And I'm mentioning all of this because we've often heard people say, can't you just shoot him in the leg, shoot him in this, shoot him, you know. People that obviously watch way too much TV, watch too many slow motion action where the bullet's coming and they whiz out of way just in the nick of time. And you know what, wherever you're at, just, you know, how far can you jump to the side? You know, try it. Stand up right now in your living room, wherever it is. How far can you jump to the side? You know, whatever physical fitness that you may be, you know, and it is true. And why don't you try doing that with a cop's belt weighs what, 10 pounds, 10, 15 pounds or more? They're gonna put the fucking bolo shit on their belt. More shit to have on their belt. They got mace, they got batons, they got tasers, they got, you know, 2 pairs of cuffs, they got, you know, how much shit's on you. And here you are trying to do like this fucking bionic man, jump to the side behind the pillar or the car or the whatever it is that's always there to take refuse from the gunfire. You know, I'm saying all this in case you can't figure it out, because I'm not just simply advocating for police officers here. There's a methodology here. What I just said, a lot of police officers are probably out there saying right now, yeah, total control, finally, you're talking some sense. See? I'm looking at your job outside of the angry protester's perspective. I'm doing my best to put myself in your position. And even that only goes but so far. Until you've had the badge, until that gun is on your hip, man, like I say, if I ever get the fuck out of Jersey and get into my wilderness retreat, man, why do you think I want a fucking revolver? I don't want no goddamn automation. The more automation, the more difficult. If the shit takes more than a fucking pipe cleaner and a little eyedropper of lube that you use once a fucking year, man, okay? If it takes more than once a fucking year, then I don't fucking want it, okay? It's too much too much maintenance, too much, you know? I like to live a simplified life. Okay, let me get back to my point here. So, you know, I put myself into police officers' shoes as best I can, but even that only goes but so far. Police are not willing to put themselves into the shoes of the vehicular cyclist. Emphasis on vehicular cyclists, okay? Because I understand that there are cops out there who ride, okay? I think my last club ride video, the little front and back cam the battery ended up dying. I won't say who, but there were a couple of police officers in that ride. From Egg Harbor Township, no less. Anyway, the point. I've even had members of that ride, or let's just say, I've had relatives or associates of police officers kind of like sit down and chit chat with me and whatnot about the whole fiasco. And as this guy is talking to me, he's a mountain biker, not a roadie, let alone a vehicular cyclist. And he made some sort of blurb about, you know, how he'd be able to ride up, like, say, you know, Mont Ventoux or Sacalabra or something that a competitive road cyclist would be able to do. And I'm like telling him, well, unless you're conditioned for that, because I don't know this whole thing, but you know, you would have to be conditioned for that. That would have to be your genre. You'd have to understand that, just like how I don't tell Seth from Seth at Bike Hacks how to mountain bike. And yet when he went to make his tour down in the Florida Keys, I saw him making these, beginner mistakes, striking out on shoddy tires, a lot of things that I would have, mistakes that I would have never made. And that's because distance touring, commuting, that's my genre. That's my expertise. So even within cycling, the different disciplines of cycling don't tell each other how it is. Take Cycle Gaz. What up, Gaz? Gaz, to my knowledge, okay, now forgive me if I'm slighting anybody, but to my knowledge, Cycle Gaz is probably the fastest commuter that's out there. Dude, like, he lights the boosters and he's like cruising at like 27 miles an hour. He can even punch it. That's cruising. When he really wants to dig deep, he can, get into like, 30, 35. Now, some of you might be saying, well, how come he's not on the professional teams and this, da, 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 da. Well, now, I don't want to speak too much for Gaz. Okay, but from my observation, Gaz, his body is conditioned for commuting. I don't know if Gaz is accustomed to riding double centuries. Okay, so when you're able to ride doubles, because they got a saying in the cycling community, if there's like a group ride out there, and somebody may come along and be like, oh, gee, you got a bike ride group there? Can I come? And they'll be like, all right, you can come, but I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be 6 hours of keeping the chain tight. And they mean just that. Keeping the chain tight, baby. Digging in, out the saddle, going for it, That's a type of competitiveness. Commuters aren't about that. Cycle Gaz, he knows the London area. He's very familiar with the streets. He doesn't have to wonder which way is he going. That's how he can probably, wag his finger. And you guys think I'm bad when I get on drivers. But yeah, so he might be extremely fast like that, but when it comes to a grand tour, it's a whole different thing, okay? You're talking 10, 20, 10, 15, 20 days of riding 150 miles, 100 miles, 150 miles, and maybe even a double century. So it's a different discipline, that's what I'm saying. So these police officers, they're not in my shoes. They're not out there riding the roads like that in a vehicular capacity. And when I put up evidence such as our Ace Stone truck that almost fucking annihilated me while trying to lane share. Let's check my time. 28. All right, I gotta finish. So the point is, I have tried it their way. I started out trying it that way. I didn't just simply take to the road invoking lane control on vehicular cycling. I tried it their way, and their way got me 2 hit and runs. I'm sorry, I'm not sticking around for the 3rd hit and run. In epilogue here, okay, I've given a lot of thought to this, and oh my god, I hope the fucking cycling community doesn't rip me to pieces for saying this, but I have begun to wonder, is there a need for a vehicular cycling license? Why do I say that? Because if these cops don't know where the fuck we're coming from, then, and we have the legal right to do it, how far right to the right to be practical? What's practical? If a cop doesn't know what's practical, then how can a cop be practical in their policing. You know, it's almost as if, what are you saying, Total Control? Cyclists such as yourself are exempt from being policed by police officers. You're not saying that you're exempt from the law, but you know, being policed by police officers with other road users. No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that if the cops don't know, then we cyclists have to be entrusted. And then comes, what time have I got here? Oh my God, only got a couple minutes. You see it a lot in London. People, they see the cyclists out there, they finally want to try their hand at it. You're talking 30-something-year-old dads getting on the bike first time in like 15 years, and they're just a discombobulated mess. They can't really get it together, and they are TFCs, traffic furniture cyclists. You're basically, you know, okay, the light turned green. Oh my God! Oh, I gotta get my pedal right. I gotta push off right. Oh, they're just an absolute fucking mess, right? And because, you know, they don't have clips, they don't have clipless pedals, nothing like that, and their muscles are very weak and they're not accustomed to it. These are people that probably would be best served riding the bike paths, getting in good condition first before striking out onto the road. In other words, just how teenagers have to be supervised by their parents when getting behind the wheel. The vehicular cycling license would indeed be a way to communicate to police that this is a cyclist who you don't have to be concerned about and that they know what the fuck they're doing. Now that's just a thought. I am not committed to that. Alright guys, this thing's going to shut me off. Hopefully I have communicated that to you. It's a shame, but cyclists, if cops don't know where we're coming from, then they can't effectively police us because they are telling us to do things that will get us killed. That's it. Total Control 871.